right.
Go live.
All right. So sorry for the delay in video.
Wait, let's let it populate.
So we get to go through all that over again. Sorry. It's okay. Take two.
Okay. It's live.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah. Go.
All right. Sorry about that, everybody. We were having network difficulties because this is our first time attempting to live stream. We thought we had it figured out. We didn't. You learn something every day, just like that channel. So this is my dad, Dino Fry. Dino's been building race motors for a very long time, and where I got all my knowledge from, or at least he got me started on it. And yeah, how's it going?
Good.
It's fantastic. He's like, I'm alive. It's fantastic. So let's see. Do we have any questions popping up?
No questions.
No, no questions yet. Nobody cares. So yeah, this is the shop where I learned a lot of stuff. It looks really nice now, but back in the day it wasn't. It was all black in a dungeon. We did a full remodel about 13 years ago now, and it's much nicer to be in here now. It's really bright. We've got skylights and light. So Dino's been building race motors almost
55 years.
about 55 years, and he started building motors with his right out of high school. He went to Sequoia High School in Redwood City, and his shop teacher used to let him use the equipment. So right off the bat, he was building motors, and a phrase he always used to tell me is, if you didn't have a fast car, you didn't have a girlfriend. So, and I'm sure that statement is true today for a lot of people. But anyway, so here we'll go and show you some of one of the engines that he's been working on right now and struggling with. Here, show us the engine. All right, so this is an interesting motor that he's been working on. If I get the camera right.
1956 Lincoln V8. They only made it for 2 years. Customer wanted me to make as much reasonable power as I could and still have the power brakes work. That limits how much camshaft I can put in it. But everything in the motor is custom built. It's got Crowder connecting rods, J&E pistons, roller hydraulic camshaft.
And it's even got these funny adapters for the intake manifold, so you can put a Chevy intake manifold on this block. You gotta use these. There's a person that makes these, and yeah. So this motor, what do you think the power output of this thing? What was it stock first?
Stock, it was 135 horsepower.
V8 that made 130. That's so much horsepower.
I think we'll get close to 500 with it.
Wow, really?
Yep.
That's
even installed a PCV system.
Oh, look at that. Wait, why did you have to do that? Oh, just because?
Oh, it's a good thing to have.
For crankcase, look at that.
Yep.
It's a PVC valve. Oh, you guys made a little... Oh.
I made this and then epoxied it to the cover. There used to be a twist-in oil cap that went there, which wasn't anymore.
Oh, wow. So stuff like this is how you get just a little bit more power. And by that, I mean you're using intaked vacuum to pull vacuum from the crankcase?
Yeah, it's a positive crankcase ventilation system.
Yeah, and it also helps with...
emissions.
It helps with, I mean, for what people care, but I mean, it would make this motor burn a little cleaner because you're not venting that to atmosphere. Wait, even though we've got a breather right here.
You have to let the air in if you're going to suck it out.
Oh, so you're not pulling any vacuum?
No.
You're just keeping it atmospheric, but you're dumping the fumes back into the motor.
Yes.
Oh, okay. See, learn something new every day. If I don't kill myself. Anyway, so everything I learned how to do was in this shop, whether it be
fabrication.
Main thing was fabrication. Here's his engine dyno room. This is a DTS engine dyno where he gets to play. I remember growing up, he wanted an engine dyno so bad. We always used to go we always used to go to dyno sessions elsewhere, and we visit shops in like Hayward. There used to be Elgin's Cams. It was Elgin's was right over here.
Well, they were in Redwood City, but there was a dyno facility over there that I rented, and I also used to rent one from Blackstone. He was in Hayward, and several other places that were convenient locally.
Yeah, so either Redwood City or Hayward or farther away from that. But
Yeah.
now that he has his own, he gets to experiment all the time. Now, usually most of the time he's experimenting on customer motors, because when you experiment on your own stuff, you don't make any money. uh, so yeah, that was one thing. And then the stuff that I learned to use in here was all the machining equipment. So my favorite, my Bridgeport Series 1, or his Bridgeport Series 1 mill. This is his really old, wait, is this a Hardinge? No, it's an old Delta. So this is the lathe I learned how to use and make threads and do all kinds of stuff. I will never let him get rid of this thing. And the other two famous things, a bandsaw and a drill press. With these 4 pieces of equipment, you can make so many different things. Oh, and the last thing, of course, you need is if you cut it apart, you got to put it back together. So our old Miller TIG welder is down there in the corner. So when I was a young kid, I always wanted to have a GoPed, and GoPeds were like the rage in middle school and high school. But he's like, well, I'm not going to buy you one. Like, tough for you. But I have everything here to build it. So if you want to learn how to build it, here's everything you need. And over, I think, 6 revisions of GoPed, I had one where the last one I actually designed on paper, on graph paper, and it lasted for a pretty long time. And it was funny because I was always almost killing myself on the thing. Let's see what else. Well, let's see. We'll go tour the equipment in the back of the shop. So everything in here has a purpose. Here's the cylinder head flow bench machine. Oh, quick note. That crazy motor over there, one of the things we did, or that Dino did, that was part of the custom parts he had to do. He had to make a print of the combustion chamber. A mold. Okay, I'm used to 3D printing. So he made a mold of the combustion chamber, glued it to the piston, and then sent this to J&E so that he could get custom pistons made, because an engine that was only made for 2 years doesn't exactly have a whole lot of aftermarket parts. So yeah, quick note. Rod sizer, and that's his valve grinder and cylinder head machine and all the other stuff. There we go, we're back to normal. And one thing you must have in the shop is you must have, where is it? You must have a stereo. And 2 big stereo speakers in the back of the shop, because you always need to tune. Here, we'll walk back over to Tim and see if we have any questions or comments.
My comment is not cover the microphone with your thumb.
Oh, shit. I'm like trying not to hold it so I don't cover that up.
No, nothing. Ask if anyone has questions.
Does anybody have questions? Want to know anything that I haven't covered? We have 7?
Yep.
Hey, cool. 7's better than none.
Hell yeah.
Oh, let's see. I'm going to look at my notepad, and I wrote questions down because I've never done this. So what age did you start building race motors, or motors in general?
About 14 or 15. First one I built was for my dad.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about the car that you put your first V8 in.
Which one are you talking about?
The flat 6 car.
Flat 6.
Engine in the back, flat 6. Dude, were the engines in the back of the car? I can't remember the name. Corvair. Tell us about the Corvair.
Well, it was just a commuter, but it was fun. And
It was more fun with a V8 though.
I never got the V8 in it.
Oh, I thought you did.
Because of marital issues, I couldn't complete the project.
And that's a conversation for another time. But
Yeah, Rico wants to hear about some drag stories.
oh yeah, so let's old street racing drag stories.
My 56 Corvette in 1965 on 7-inch slicks, ran 1180s, 122 in the quarter. Went to the championship drags, drove it there, and drove home with the trophy.
Now that was in what year? again?
1965.
1965. And going. Oh, I almost dropped the phone.
Rico says hi too, by the way.
Oh yeah, hi Rio. I hope you're enjoying this on your morning water heater adventures. So, going that fast in 1965 was a big deal, and especially to have any form of horsepower coming out of your small block. He was the pioneer for power back in the day. It was before they sold, custom or cast cylinder heads that made a lot of power. Now you can buy everything off the shelf. Back then you couldn't buy anything.
Yeah.
You had to come up with your own way to do it.
You had to do it yourself.
So back then, when you didn't have a flow bench, how did you port match cylinder heads, or it was just guessing?
Well, port matching is easy, but all the articles I read, most of them were wrong after I got my flow bench and figured out what it really took. And you just ground on them based on what you read in magazines. I remember reading one magazine that said working on the guide boss is a waste of time. Well, that was totally wrong. You want to get rid of as much of that as you can. A lot of things like that.
Right on. So yeah, definitely a lot of trial and error.
Yes.
And there was one circumstance where you won a race, and then you've told me this story where you won a race and then you woke up the next morning and somebody stole your motor. Was it that one? And then you confronted them and they had their hood chained or something?
No, that was a motor system. That was Ron had.
So they showed him what's up, and then the competition did not like that and came and relieved without letting him know. Let's see what else. You used to tell me stories of you running from the cops all the time.
Oh yeah, Kelton asked the story about running or getting pulled over in the vet on 280.
You got pulled over in the Corvette on 280.
No, in the Camaro.
Camaro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelton. You're right.
I was looking to sell the engine in the Camaro, and I was demonstrating it. And we pulled off on Sand Hill Road, and there was a set of headlights that followed us. And lo and behold, it was a CHP. And he pulled us over, and the first thing he said was, "Open the hood."
Back when cops admired fast cars.
Anyway, it went from there.
Travis asked, "What's the worst wrecks you walked away from?"
Oh, there you go.
What's that?
What are the worst accidents you've walked away from? I haven't had any
I
accidents.
haven't walked away from any bad accidents.
You haven't had any serious crashes?
No.
That means he hasn't been pushing the limits.
Not near any other cars, anyway.
All right. Let's see. You told me a story when you were running from the cops one time, and you basically went to a friend's house who had the same car.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
No. You got to fill me in. I just covered the basics. So you went to a friend's house. That friend owned the same year and color the Corvette.
Right.
And he parked the car around back, went in the house and sat down, and the cops knocked on the door.
Yeah, they wanted to. I was hiding in the house in his aunt's bedroom. The cops wanted to come in and search because my friend had a broken leg and answered the door on a pair of crutches, so they knew it wasn't him that was driving the car.
But the car that was the cold car outside was the car that was registered to him.
No, it was mine. It was my car.
But you said they went down and checked the car and it was ice cold or something, or
Well, that's a different story.
it's a different story. I'm getting confused. There's another one where they check the motor and it's cold, and because two cars.
You want me to elaborate?
Yes,
on
yes,
that
I
one?
do. We want content here, man.
Well, I was driving home from school at night. I was going to night school. And the tip-off was always if the cops were coming after you, they'd turn their brights on. So when that happened, I knew I had to get the hell out of Dodge. And evaded them, and then dropped off my friend at his house and left. Well, the other friend that had the same kind of car as I did had his car parked out front, and they were all watching TV when the cops knocked on the door and wanted to know who the wise guy was that owned the Corvette. And he was a wise guy and said, right here. So he explained that he'd been there all day and they didn't believe him. So they wanted to go out and check the motor, and it was stone cold. Meanwhile, I was long gone.
So this is where I got my antics from, because of stories that he told me like that in the past. Let's see. All right, let's move on to another subject. Let's see. How long has racing been in the family for? What did your father race back in the day?
My dad used to race motorcycle and sidecars in Europe, and the whole family was into performance. When my dad figured out that I had a knack for working on cars, pretty soon I became the family mechanic.
Not being used.
I put Chevy motors in his Studebakers, whatever the hell he wanted done.
All right.
I could get it done.
And let's see, the family, we first immigrated, or you and your father first immigrated from Zurich, Switzerland in what year?
1949.
Yeah, 1949. And I just recently got to visit Switzerland, well, not recently, about 2 years ago, before all of the shit that's happened this year. Got to visit, he gave me the address, and I was able to go and check out the original house in Zurich, which was pretty cool, and definitely, it was cold. Went there in January, and it was like, I want to say it was between 5 to 10 degrees the entire time I was there, but still worth the trip. Had never seen it growing up, and finally I didn't want to wait for him, and he's like, I'm going to make a trip out there. And he never makes a trip out there. So I was like, okay, I'm going on my own. I'm going to go see the place. All right, let's see.
Rico asked about the race car story. Why did he build that car?
Race car story.
The NASCAR race car.
Oh, so what's the story behind the red car right there? This is his current race car. He won 2 championships with it, and here, tell us about that car.
Well, I was heavily involved in road racing in the 70s, and it became my livelihood. And about around 2005, I decided I wanted to do that one more time before I couldn't, and decided to build a GTA car, which is a tube-frame car with a Monte Carlo body. Very limited on what you could do to the motor. The motor was absolutely spectacular. 10-to-1 compression, 650 Holley, no more than 600 valve lift, makes about 560 horsepower. At Thunderhill, my car was 10 to 11 miles an hour faster than the next closest car in our class, and we ended up winning the championship first year and the second year.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. And the first year there were 14 events. I think we won 11 of them, and it would have been 12, except we got black flag for too much noise, so that cost us the first place.
And that brings on another story. This car has probably the biggest exhaust system off of any race car I've seen. It's dual 3-inch exhaust into a single 5-inch pipe, and then the muffler. But that's not the end of it. That was too loud. So the muffler, after the first muffler, it continues over the diff, and then goes through another muffler, makes a 180, and comes out the opposite side of the microphone on the track. So he also found out with this extended exhaust system, it improved the scavenging of the engine, and he had to go up jet sizes because the engine started running lean. Which is pretty cool. So let's see this thing. Take these boxes off.
Take what off?
Here, let's see the car. I'm gonna switch the camera around.
Well, The exhaust system isn't on it right now.
So the car is currently storage. This is the race car. He built it over a almost a 10-year period.
Yeah.
Almost a 10-year period in the garage. These are all the winning stickers from events. And here, let's pull the boxes off back there. I want to see the exhaust.
It's not on there. I just told you.
Oh.
I was starting to tear it apart, and then, you know, I was trying to get Wayne to come down and help. And
all right. Well, here, these boxes off, and let's see the engine. People want to see the engine, even if they don't say they want to see it. All right. So there's your small block Chevy, and you see on this engine, oh yeah, you've got half the system torn. So the header is not even installed on this side, and this is how it is on the driver's side. It goes up over the bell housing and comes down the other side. The rest of the system would merge in that zone, but all cog drive, you have to limit the amount of air coming in. Oh yeah, so the hood is a fiberglass balsa wood composite construction to keep it light and rigid. Much to this car. It's a tube chassis, and then the driver's compartment is all sheet metal. Dino made every part of this car.
Except for the tube frame.
Except for the frame. The only thing that he didn't make. But as far as, oh, you don't have your sway bar on right now either.
No.
Oh. Anyway, all right, well. One day, basically when I have time, what's the class that you wanted to change it to convert to?
TA2, Trans Am 2.
So hopefully one day I'll have the time to turn this car into a TA2 car. So that means a Camaro body, all this body gets taken off, and then I have to shorten the roof cage, or the portion of the tube chassis that goes up into the top of the car, because the Camaro body is a lot lower. So that, and it's going to get big brakes and 17s.
I'm not sure what they allow on wheel sizes. We'll have to check the rules.
So lots of changes. You wanted to keep the small block because of exceptions.
We make more power than the LS motor that is allowed. However, if they check us on the chassis dyno, they'll probably complain about it.
Yeah, because it's a small block, you're allowed to do things that you wouldn't be allowed to do on the LS motor, because the LS motors are not a lot lighter, but they're lighter than a small block.
If we make the change and keep the cast iron motor, we can move the motor back 4 inches and to the right 1 inch. That'll
Wow.
improve the handling and the weight bias. We'll be able to have 52% rear axle weight.
Yeah, so more faster.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go do a little walk into the shop a little bit. Let's see. I think I showed you that. There's Tim. Let's see. Let me look at my notes and look at some other stuff. Bear with me. Let's see. How many engines do you think you've built in your lifetime?
Hard to say.
Probably in the thousands.
I don't know.
Well, let's
We
see.
can ask more on the balsa wood.
Oh, on the hood?
He's curious on the balsa wood.
Well, what do you want me to say, Rika? They use the balsa wood to help rigidity, so it creates a space between the two layers of fiberglass, and it puts the top layer and the bottom layer into compression and tension farther apart.
No, it makes the hood more rigid and keeps it light.
I was basically saying that, except more complicated. Let's see. His dyno setup, he made all from scratch. When we remodeled the building, the major addition that the shop got. So everything that runs the dyno, well, I mean, not the operating system, but as far as what runs the room. So the fans, the water pumps, all the electronics, everything. Here, I'll show you. Let's see, can I open this?
You want to?
Here, I'll show you all the control systems. He's got his barometric pressure gauge going into the wall, the battery tender for the battery that starts the engine. Here, I'm going to do this while attempting to hold the phone. See, everything that controls the dyno for water pumps and fans is all in this box. These are the 2 AC speed controllers.
Frequency drives.
There you go, frequency drives because of the way AC works. And yeah, the pane of glass that you view the dyno system with. Look, there's Tim again right there.
3 layers.
There's 3 layers. There's the outer, the middle, and the inner. And the inner is at, it looks like a 5 degree or a 3 degree.
Angle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at an angle to deflect the sound. So that way it's insulating without actually having insulation.
Cody wants to see a dyno run.
Oh, here, let's see. You can see the dyno and just picture an imaginary dyno run. We'll try and upload some videos of the very few dyno runs that I have. This engine will be put on the dyno, hopefully, in the next couple weeks?
It'll be about 3 weeks because we're waiting for the headers that will work on the dyno.
Yeah. Anyway, so from motors for a long period of time, he's actually much more organized than me when it comes to hardware. There's usually lots of parts. What? Oh. Honestly, you should like this video and comment more and subscribe to the channel so you can see us acting like idiots. Because, you know, I would watch that because I think I just put it on YouTube and be like, yeah, I'm gonna watch TV and I watch YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, lots of spare parts. I think you got enough timing covers, dude. He's not. Let's see, where'd all your carburetors? Oh yeah, if you need carburetors, he's got the market cornered. Yeah.
They want you to lock you in the engine room to make engine noises.
You guys want to? I don't know. Me making engine noises. Here, clickbait. I'm just gonna. Here, let me move the. Here, I'm gonna move the engine hoist out of the room. Here, we'll move the dolly in front of the machine. This is gonna be silly. Oh, I can't move it all the way.
What are we doing?
People want to see me make engine noises while sitting in the dyno cell. You want to see MFer power? Here we go. Here, I gotta make room because I'm not small. Here, what if I sit in the... Here, let's try it. Oh no, that's solid right now. If I could feel more ridiculous, this would be the time. Look, I can't sit back because the cooling line is here. I'm about to make some horsepower. If I don't fall on my ass. All right. Yep, I just sat on that. Let's see, other things that make the dyno cell work. You got all this bullshit, and then you've got some more shit. Now, Dino made everything in this room from scratch. I mean, not that. That's bought. But as far as the plumbing system that helps the dyno system, or not helps, that supplies cold water and fresh water to that magical thingy right there, that's the thingy that your motor makes power. And yeah, and you know, Dino's looking at me like I'm stupid. See, he's lost interest. Another thing that comes with dynoing engines is you got to make everyone's a big fan of tuning every aspect of a car. So he has different. These are
Different choke diameters.
These are trumpets for collectors. So they're basically a big cone that goes from small to large. And you've got some that are really small and some that aren't so small. But these all, depending on what the displacement of the motor and the cam and the RPM, each one of these will work. This tells us like how the exhaust needs to be designed, so to speak, and what works best and helps you make most power. Let's see, I'm going to try not to be so monotone and ask some more questions. Let's see, this is why I wrote down notes. So back in the day, Dino used to build engines for undercover cop cars. Is that right?
That is correct.
So I an undercover cop car where you guys were testing, and you guys got pulled over by another cop.
Yeah.
So they wanted to make sure the undercover car was fast enough, and another cop had something to say about it.
Yeah, these things happen.
Yeah. So describe the interaction.
Well, we get pulled over, and the CA is going to cite me, and the undercover cop that was riding shotgun said, "No, you're not touching him.
Well, that's pretty straightforward.
He's on our side."
Yeah. So needless to say, did he proved that he could get away, and then they're like, "We need that guy," without knowing it. Let's see. Let me look at my notes again. Bear with the first time. How long are we gonna go for? We were gonna go for 30 minutes.
Right.
Okay, we'll answer a couple more questions. Ask some there we go. Ask some questions. You must ask some questions right now. See, and this is why live is so much better. I act like a jackass all by myself. When we're shooting video, it's like, no, I don't like it. No, it doesn't feel good. We got to shoot it again. And here it's just like, this is how it is. Let's see. I covered that. What were your? Okay, the first thing that you got me into fabricating or learning how to do my own stuff was you gave me a choice. End of 6th grade, when I was a little tiny one, about a science project to do.
Yeah, well, at your school, the kids that won the science projects clearly always had parental help, and it was a little irritating. So I told you one time that next year we're going to hurt them.
Yeah, so he gave me the option to either I wanted to build or I wanted to do a science project on like pressurizing 2-liter bottles and making rockets out of them. And I thought it was so awesome. But I was in 7th grade, and he was like,
No.
yeah, he had something to say about that.
I decided that Marcus needed to build 2 pulse jets, one being twice the size of the smaller one based on area, and then he had to figure out which one made better power and if the power was linear or exponential. And in the end, the power was clearly exponential.
So it proved that doubling the size doesn't necessarily mean doubling the power was more than double.
That's right.
So this was a concept that taught me a lot of things, not just that, but it was the scientific method, it was how to fabricate and design, and how to proof of concept. So we still he has those engines at his house. He actually forgot to bring them down. But that project alone got me all the way to the state science fair in 7th grade, and I won 4th in state. Not a lot of people know that, and I feel good.
Sure.
But
That
from
was a great project.
from that project on, he was pretty much told me that anything I want to build, he's like, I have the tools here to build it. If you want to build it, you need to learn how to do it. And that's before YouTube. I couldn't look things up and see somebody else do it on a tutorial. I had to make mistakes over and over again, and I made a lot of them.
And that's the best way to learn.
Including hurting myself. You find out how to do stuff right when you hurt yourself a bunch.
There's a couple questions if you want to answer.
Yeah.
What's the CHP Mustangs 5.0?
What was the CHP car?
Well, the CHP car was the car that pulled us over. The car I was driving was an undercover Firebird.
It was a Pontiac Firebird?
Yeah, it was a Pontiac.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Do you remember what the CHP car was?
Oh, no, it just...
No, see, that doesn't matter.
That's right.
And then does he build your engines?
Yes, Dino does build my motors. My builds are usually the longest to be completed because he doesn't charge me very much, if anything, which I still feel bad for. I've offered to pay him. He won't take it.
Right.
I have. But he's built 3 motors for me. The first of which was him like, basically, you have a fast car. Hey, let's build a motor. Sadly, that motor never saw vehicle. Or no, wait, 4 motors. The first motor never saw a car. The second motor was, hey, you've got a Camaro, I'll help you build a motor. And it was literally a motor that you put together with leftover stuff you had in the shop. That was a 350 in the 77?
Yeah.
So my car right out of high school was a 77 Camaro. And it had a 350 with a quadrajet, and the intake manifold and carburetor was something that he had experimented with over the years, where on a Q-Jet the carburetor has 2 big holes and 2 little holes. And when it goes into the intake, it keeps those separated. Well, what he would used to do was completely bore out the intake manifold on a Q-Jet dual plane, and it creates a lot of plenum volume. And it made more power, but I can't say it like that.
All right, another question. Big topic is new school versus old school, crate motors versus hand built. Obviously, it hurts his craft. Why do people still choose handcrafted?
So why do you think people still choose to go with you for handmade engines?
Because most of my customers want things that you can't readily buy. They're all basically custom motors.
Like the engine we showed you earlier in the video.
Yeah.
That engine was only built for 2 years. Nobody makes stuff for those motors.
Anything for them.
So they come to him to not only get a reliable engine, but get something that will make power, and then he can prove it in that room. Let's see, anything else?
Why are you so weird to you?
Oh, me? I don't know. I've always been self-conscious. I'll tell you a little secret. In 3rd grade, I stayed back, and I did 3rd grade twice, and the class I went into was total shit. I was ridiculed for years after that. But that's definitely made me a very odd individual, and not to give a stuff
You're fine.
about anything, including what people say about me. So when I do my own stuff or act really weird, it's because that's how I am. And why should anybody else be the deciding factor, or why should I use their judgment as judgment on me? I'll act however I want, and I don't care. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. I think I've covered all the notes on my pad. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Wrap it up.
he actually works a lot, even though he's like old. He's so old. He's so old, but he's definitely the oldest person I know that stays as capable as he is. Like, he comes to work every day and builds awesome. Like, this is all awesome right here. So he comes to work and builds awesome, and he's like, I need to keep building awesome. And he can't stop. So that being said, my shop is nearby his. I come and check on him from once in a while to make sure he's still building awesome, because we like awesome. And until next time, we're going to wrap it up. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And
Subscribe, like, and subscribe.
please like and subscribe the channel, because we're really trying to get this channel going. And I believe I have lots more content to share with everybody, including not only how-tos, but me doing dumb shit, which I know people will appreciate. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in this morning, and have a happy Monday.